Ms. Atwiine, as we look to the future, I'd like to ask you, what are the youth priorities and challenges that we will need in order to accelerate action on SDG 9? Over to you.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. Hello, everyone, once again. I'm called Atwiine Sabrina, founder and CEO of Nimarunji. Our mission is to reduce education inequality in Uganda through our data and skilling platform. Growing up from a slum area in Bugonji Kabale district, I experienced firsthand the lack of resources and opportunities of children like me to explore and learn. This reality is shared by countless young people in underserved communities. According to UNICEF's report, Uganda has the second youngest population globally, with 78% of its citizens below the age of 35. Sadly, these agents of change lack access to quality education, leading to difficulties in the transitioning from school to work, high rates of unemployment, and eventually a huge blocker to industrialization, infrastructure, and innovation development. The COVID-19 pandemic highlighted the potential of these young people. Numerous youth-led startups emerged. Unfortunately, only a few of them managed to go through the first year of their operations because of lack of resources, lack of talent, and lack of funds. And yet, Africa actually has potential. Consider these statistics. Africa represents 20% of the Earth's surface, is a home to 1.3 billion people, possesses 60% of the world's arable land, and holds 30% of the world's reserve minerals. Moreover, Africa has the youngest population of each continent. Yet, despite these vast resources, their contribution is only 3% of the world's GDP, accounts for less than 3% of international trade, and generates mere 2% of the world's research output and 0.1% of all patents. As a young African tech entrepreneur, I'm working so hard to see these numbers change. Currently, if we are to look at the worldwide workforce, most people serve in the service sector, and only 15% are engaged in highly professional, and even fewer in the tech industry. Investing approximately 100 million USD could impact the life of these young entrepreneurs by skilling them with AI entrepreneurship, giving them access to data, giving them access to laptops that can help them actualize their potential and be part of the contribution to SDG 9. Yet, operating a startup like Nimarunji in a low-income country comes with significant challenges. I mean, how can we build products for people who cannot even afford them? How can we build teams from peers who are going through an education system that isn't practical enough to give them competent and relevant skills that they need to contribute to SDG 9? Looking at platforms like Nimarunji that offer these kinds of talents and skilling to young people, and programs like Technovation is definitely something that will be very good for these young people to actualize their goals. Together, we can empower these young tech entrepreneurs from underserved communities and bridge the gap between the public sector and the private sector to actualize the goals of these young people. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Yes, you have given us a lot to reflect on and some very concrete, practical. Ms. Atwiine.
Thank you very much. I noticed that there are three major things that are shared commonly from almost all the countries that represented today. First, we have skilling of these young people with technology entrepreneurship skills. We have funding to support their innovations and entrepreneurship. And then we have education inequality. But then the question is, why are we still having issues? Why are we not seeing progress in some areas? And why isn't it actually working? These are some of the reflections or points that I could actually stress to ensure that we actually achieve SDG 9 and help these young entrepreneurs? First, I think data analytics is something that is very important because we recognize from the different countries that there's actually efforts from different member states to actually work on improving the infrastructure, industry, and innovation sector. But the problem is that efforts without direction actually go in vain. So if we actually embrace data and use it in our policy making methods, I actually think that we could actually see more progress. And then secondly, I would also like to emphasize on local investment. We see that it's actually more beneficial if we invest locally in the different communities where different young people come from, because then they can also transform their families at the local level. And at the end of the day, it all contributes to the global economy and all. And then thirdly, apprenticeship. This is actually emphasizing on the representative of Denmark, what they represented. It's something I also have deeply at heart, making sure that we have people who are already in the working systems give support to the future employees. How can we put policies where our elders or the big people who are already in the working forces, how can they better support young people to actually take up these spaces and contribute and transform their communities? Otherwise, I think there's actually hope for SDG 9, and there's so much progress going on. And thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Madam President, as we come to the close of this panel,